Okay, let's set up this Vermi-Mini with some African night crawlers. So, open up your system, do the zipper all the way around, pull back the liner. Now if you look inside, you'll notice that there's an inner liner on the VermiBags that have the Zippered Harvest system. And you notice that the center of this is much smaller than the outer ring. That provides a restriction because that's going to be going down, so you don't have to worry about compost and stuff falling out when you open up the zipper area. But also, when you have this thing, material in it, this liner goes downward and the material will push against it here. The zipper is up at this level right here, and this is a waterproof material, so the zipper never comes in contact with the water or the dirt. And that's really important. We had a system earlier we made, pushing a year ago now, and it was down much lower and water came in direct contact with the zipper. And after about 2.5 months, something really unexpected happened. The zipper started to calcify because we have a lot really hard water here, or fairly hard water. And when that zipper sits in contact with that water continuously in a wet system, calcification happens along the zipper, and it makes it really difficult to impossible to undo the zipper. And then we also had a lot of dirt getting into the zipper, and it made it really hard to unzip and put back. But by doing this inner liner and putting the protection, the zipper up higher and having this inner liner that protects it, it's almost fail-safe now, and it's really simple to harvest. So let's go ahead, make sure your inner liner is pushed down. Take a single piece of newspaper. I mean, you don't need a whole bunch of, 12 layers or something like that. This is just one single sheet of newspaper that's wetted down. I'm just going to place that down in here just to give an area that the worms can hang out in. They like layers. They really do. So, place that in the bottom. And then I'm going to grab some of the bedding that I make. Again, I have a video on that if you'd like to see how I make it. I'm going to place a few handfuls of this bedding down at the bottom. I'll show you what this bedding looks like again. So this is just shredded newspaper, shredded cardboard, shredded white paper, a little bit of coconut coir, and I have a little bit of alfalfa meal and some oyster shell dust in it. It's been sitting out in a bucket, 5-gallon bucket outside now for probably a month. It's moist. I mean, it's not super wet, but it's definitely moist. Put just a little bit more in, and then I'm going to go in and throw in the contents that I pulled out of the Vermi-Bucket with all the worms in it, and put that in. Now this is the same material that I used in the Vermi-Bucket, so the worms aren't going to have much of a transition. This is, even though I'm moving them into a new worm bag, it's basically exact same contents as the old worm bag. So I shouldn't have any issues of worms trying to get out, but really with these systems, there's no way out for them anyway. It's almost escape proof. Some of the smaller ones might be able to find a way through where the zippers terminate at the bottom or at the top, but for the most part, this thing keeps things out and keeps things in. Let's grab the worms and dump them in. Okay, here's the contents from the Vermi-Bucket. And you dig through here, there's a lot of worms in here. They're mixed throughout this whole area. Let's see if I can keep those in there. Small ones, juveniles, adult ones. And I'm sure there's a lot of cocoons and stuff in here too. So I'm just going to basically take this and dump it in there. I mean, I could gently put it in there, but it's just as easy to dump it in, smooth it out. I'm going to level this out slightly. I have the paper that was at the top of the bucket with a couple banana peels that are pretty well decomposed. Set that paper on. Now I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit of food in here to get these guys kick-started. So just kind of hollow out a small section. Grab a handful of the bedding you have. Set that in there, the base. And then grab a handful. This is again the frozen vegetables and stuff that I always make. Grab a good handful of that and place that down on the bottom. And then what I do, I don't know if it's necessary or not, I grab another handful of bedding and I place it on the food, and then I just mix it up a little bit, just for I have basically bedding in between the vegetables, the frozen food and stuff. It seems like the worms go into it a lot faster versus it being just a solid clump of vegetables. So when I have the vegetables all mixed in, finally I grab one final small hand full of bedding, put it on top. Go ahead and place the paper towels over the top. And that's it. I'm going to let this thing sit, and next week I'll do a quick little follow-up video and see how they're doing in here. I'll pull it up here, set the stand up really fast, and I'll just show you how the bottom of it's kind of tightened up now and filled out with the material. And over a period of several weeks, the bottom of this will really tighten up, because as the worms work that bottom section, it decomposes, the material fills in down there, and the bottom of the bag will become very taut. So zip this up. You can see now that the bottom of the bag is it's full. There's hardly any space here. There's a little bit of space on a couple of the corners, but the whole bottom of this is just full of material now. And just show you what it looks like when you unzip this a little ways. Go ahead and pull it. And notice here, the zipper is right here, and there's an inner liner in here. Material's behind this inner liner that you push back. I can unzip it a little bit further. And so even right now, there's the single sheet of paper that I put on the newspaper I put on the bottom that's holding that material. And if you look, this tapers. So it makes a restriction in the bottom, so this material is not just going to come falling out when you unzip this. So, and the other thing, the only possibility of getting dirt on your zipper is right at this point right here when you're opening it. So when you open the bag and you have it at about this point, if you take it and just simply invert it, turn it inside out, at that point the zipper is way back behind here. You can harvest as much as you want, then knock off the inner liner and stuff, make sure there's no dirt. Grab a hold of the liner, pull it back up to the top, and just zip it back up. Now some of my latest bags, I've installed a little bit larger zipper on this. I'm not sure if it's necessary or not, and time will tell. After I run these for 9 months, or give them plenty of time. I have both varieties out, with the smaller zipper and the larger zipper. The larger zipper only has one pull, where the smaller zipper has two. We'll see how it goes. It needs a little bit of time. I need to give these, like I said, 9 months or so to really test them out to see which is the best way to go. But so far I've had no issues with either one of them. This is a great system. It's so simple to harvest. I mean, you can literally almost do it with one hand. Come back, pull it down, because when you pull this down again, if this compost was in here and set up, nothing would come out when you open it up. It's going to sit just like that. Harvest it, and then with one hand you can pull the zipper from both sides and zip it back up. It's so much easier than the drawstring. It's a great system. So from VermiBag Tutorials, until next time, ciao.